I heard an interview with Lionel Richie regarding the topic of song titles. He attempts to include the title in the song's first line and preferably the first word of the first line. He wants the title embedded in the listener's mind to make recall easy. It makes sense when you think about it. A couple of other benefits come to mind for this method. The title gives an insight into the song's story and invites the listener in, and it may call the writer to begin the song with a chorus, which is the core story. So, few things on this. First of all, thank you, PJ, for the email. I always like when people send sort of thought provoking emails, and this is one of them. So I think there's always two ways to look at this. There's practical, which if you were to be cynical, maybe you could say business, and artistic, right? On the practical level, an obvious song title early on likely is going to help with song recognition, right? So people will listen to your song and they'll remember it so that when they go home and they don't know where they heard it. Maybe they heard it on the radio. Maybe they heard it because, your good friend is a good enough friend that they put your music in a playlist and their friend's like, wow, that song's really good. They didn't realize that it's just somebody that your friend knew. And the song title was obvious. So they go home, they look it up on YouTube Music or Spotify or whatever they use, and they can find your music. Right. So from a practical slash business, success in quotes, business success or, popularity success standpoint, totally makes sense. Right. And I think that's not something we should just dismiss outright. Of course, that's a factor in songs. And then there's the artistic side, right? Which is what's right for the song. What's the central identity of the song? What most helps the song artistically? These are the things that we need to consider. And connecting it to, the idea of the first line. I don't think it's a net good or bad to have the first line contain the title. I certainly know many songs that do have that. I think it can be effective. It is great, as PJ points out, that it's sort of setting the stage or getting right into the story right away, right? It gives you the main, maybe even thesis of the song right away. And something else he mentions is that, this also could be a way to sort of get you to start with the chorus, which is, he says the core story. I would maybe argue that chorus is usually the core theme, not the core story, which is different. But sometimes the chorus is more story driven. Sometimes it's not. More often than not, I feel like it's more theme than it is story. But it certainly is the core of a song, right? So to open with a chorus, I think also can be a very effective tool. But something I always like to think about when it comes to song titles is we always like to use obvious song titles. We all, I think, default to that. But sometimes a song title can actually be a really effective tool for a song, for adding context to a song that might not actually be in the song itself. We're often so busy thinking about, can we, should the song title come from the first line of the song or the last line of the chorus or the first line of the chorus? Or is there a line in the bridge that most encapsulates what this song is about? Or do I have this line that I just think is really cool at the end of my last verse that's like, actually, I kind of want to name this song that because it's a more interesting song title. We consider all those type of things. And I think not often enough do we consider, how about a song title that gives context outside the song that isn't just ripping a word or a line from the song? One of the best examples of this I can think of is Good Riddance, in parentheses, Time of Your Life by Green Day. Now, this song is widely misunderstood as a nice song until you look at the title, because it kind of sounds like it would be a nice song. And once you realize the title is Good Riddance, in retrospect, it's kind of like, oh, yeah, I see how this is kind of like just laden with sarcasm, right? It's just, the whole song is just sarcastic. Oh, I hope you have the time of your life. It's a giant screw you, basically. And having the song title Good Riddance adds the context to know, hey, this whole song is sarcastic that you wouldn't have otherwise. And it would be forced to insert it into the song. The whole song is just dedicated to this sarcasm, this bitter sarcasm of, presumably you left me in a horrible way. You suck. I hope you have the time of your life. And by that, I mean, I hope that everything goes awful for you from here on out. To brute force in the song, like some sort of, hey, listener, this whole thing is sarcastic. So I'm going to have a line that talks about good riddance out of nowhere, or, have the song kind of get outside of the sarcasm for a moment just to like make sure people understand, hey, this is sarcastic. No, the song doesn't do that. The song commits to the sarcasm, and the title is what gives the context. I don't think enough songs do that. It's a powerful tool. Another example, to stick with Five for Fighting, as we've talked about in this episode, Superman. In parentheses, it's not easy. You notice the theme here, that very often in parentheses, you have a part that's more identifiable. But the song Superman by Five for Fighting never once mentions Superman. Now, you'd have to be a moron, I feel like, to not know the song is about Superman. I mean, there's imagery throughout and lines throughout that's like super obvious allusions to Superman, right? I'm just a man in a red sheet is a line. There's talk of, I'm more than a bird, I'm more than a plane, I'm more than a pretty face beside his train, right? Look, a bird, a plane, it's Superman, right? There's so many allusions that I don't know how you would know. But the song title is what sort of brings it all together, that like this song is a song from Superman's perspective. So it's just Superman. And then the song, he doesn't have this weird line out of nowhere that's like, I am Superman, and then continues, because like people don't talk like that, right? Like I mean, we have I'm Batman, I guess, but like normally that's not how it would go, right? It would be awkward if in the song he's like, I'm Superman, by the way. And really, this connects to I think an important artistic theme. Mostly, I think it's important because lately, especially with most movies now, which are almost all unbelievably bad. I mean, MCU and Star Wars are beyond embarrassing at this point. And I know there's more movies than that, but like everybody kind of, it started as like a large group of us were like, everything sucks, guys. Our standards are so low. Now, basically, everybody agrees, right? Like only shills seemingly are left that are like, no, it's good because shiny, pretty things. Like it can't even construct a basic story anymore. Anyway, I think it's important in art to not treat your consumer, the person on the other end of the art, like they're stupid. A, because it's condescending, and stop it. B, because it almost always ruins art, right? That's why we have movies now that will like wink, wink, nudge, nudge, basically at the camera. They'll basically break the fourth wall just to be like, hey, did you get that? Did you get that virtue signal? Or did you get that, very overt thing? Like, there's no subtext anymore. Subtext is such a powerful thing. Don't treat people like they're dumb. People aren't dumb. People can figure it out. And that doesn't mean everybody is going to figure it out, but don't worry about that. Don't let your brilliance be lost on people. It's okay that some people who listen to the Green Day song Good Riddance don't realize it's sarcasm, right? People don't realize tons of crazy stuff. So when it comes to song titles, well, I agree with PJ that it's an interesting thing to think about. It's worth considering. Hey, maybe we should open with the chorus, have the song title be from the first line of the chorus, and have that be the first line of the song. The recognizability of it is worth mentioning. I would maybe argue that it still makes a song more recognizable to its title if it's in a chorus that repeats than if it were in the first line of the first verse, which happens only once. So it's kind of blink and you miss it. But if the first line is the chorus, then you're kind of getting the best of all worlds. I think those are all great things to consider, to think of. But I just figured it was worth mentioning as well, this sort of opposite end of the spectrum. A song title that actually is adding to the song artistically rather than just being a book cover. It's adding something that isn't within the song itself, which can be a powerful tool when naming your song. Hey friend, if you found this helpful, then something else you'll likely find helpful is my free cheat sheet on 20 different ways to start writing a song. One of the easiest ways to avoid writer's block and make sure our songs don't all sound the same is just to change up how we start our song. So if you're ready to write your next great song, be sure to check it out at songwritertheory.com/free guide.